Greetings, greetings, family. We are now live and direct to the world. Rising up the entire YouTube family. Family, as you can see, we've got some wonderful guests in the house. Yes, and we're looking forward to another really interesting and exciting, very informative discussion today.
Wonderful guests in the house.
My apologies.
Yes, and we're looking forward to another really interesting and exciting, very informative.
My voice is coming back at me. My sincere apologies. I've got us actually live on another page there. Okay, so family, it's been a very exciting, strong here for me on the continent. I certainly hope it's been a great one for you all too. As you can see, we've got a fantastic lineup. As you come in, please let us know that you're in the house. We've got another guest that's going to be joining us today. Where he is in the world, he's just let me know that they're doing some load shedding and his light has gone, but hopefully, you know, he will be able to join us before the end of the show today. And, you know, it kind of touches on the topic we're going to be talking about today as well. So, you know, before we go into the show today, let's allow our guests just to briefly greet our audience. Dr. Lennon, please greet our audience.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Montego Bay, Jamaica. I'm Dr. John Lennon. As you can see from my accent that I'm an expatriate. I was actually born in the UK, but to Jamaican parents. But I spent in my entire my entire teenage years in Jamaica. And I returned here back in 2013. And since then, I've been advocating for state investment in renewable energy and solar powered schools, but unfortunately, because of the system that we live in, I've been failing quite miserably, and that's what we're going to outline today in the show. Thank you.
Rise up, Dr. John Lennon, and welcome to today's panel. We're going to be having that discussion today because I think more of us need to be having this conversation on this very important topic that we're going to be covering today. Let's welcome Naja. Welcome, my sis.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Naja Nyakeo. I am from Kenya, from the slopes of Mount Kenya in a small country town called Nanyuki. I'm loving today's topic already because renewable energy is something which I have been advocating for as a land environmentalist for a very, very long time. All forms of renewable energy, including biofuels. So this for me is, it's a very exciting topic and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm looking forward to it too. Dr. Abu, welcome, welcome. Please greet our audience. You're on mute.
Budum family, Sister Sheila, Sister Naja, Dr. Lennon, you know, Sister Shanice, you know. Well, it's a wonderful topic, you understand, because without we go natural, that means that we're gonna end up in this chaos. We're gonna leave chaos for the next generation. So these are the things then that we have to look on to get back natural with ourselves, get that natural with the environment, and just get back natural with nature itself. That's the only way. Good.
Vodum, Dr. Abu, Sheo, we are natural people at one with the earth, at one with nature. Absolutely agree. That's where we've got to get back to. And let's welcome another member of our panel, becoming a resident member now. Absolutely love it. Sister Sheila.
Rise up, my people. It's an honor to be here amongst my people. Yet another wonderful, great topic. I look forward to this great day, great session, and I give thanks to all of us here, my fellow panelists, and our viewers from around the world. Thank you very much for today. We will grow. We are growing. I give thanks.
Give thanks for your presence. Give thanks to our entire panel, and looking forward to a great discussion. Let's go over to the chat, shall we, and see who we have in the house. Okay, we have Mona in the house. High five back at you, Mona. Greetings, greetings. We've got Sister Afrijamo in the house who's saying, greetings, Sister Shanice, panel and real Africans in the chat, watching from Ghana. Wonderful. Yes, family, do let us know where in the world you're watching us from. Rising up, rising up. Sylvia, who is saying, greetings, family. Lily, sending greetings right back at you as well. Sister Afrijamo saying, Dr. Abu in the house. Yes, he is indeed. And Brian is saying, greetings, Sister Shanice and guests. Greetings back at you, Brian. Glad to have you in the house. Where are you watching us from? We've got Grace G in the house. We've got Sister Verna in the house. Rise up, Sister Verna, who's saying, greetings, Sister Shanice and family. And we've got Mr. Wilfred in the house saying, hello. No, we're not low in hell. Rise up, Wilfred. We're rising you up. Mona, looks like she's flying a Jamaica flag there. Must be signaling that she's watching us from Jamdown. Oh, very nice indeed. Grace is watching us from Massachusetts. We've got Lady V in the house saying, greetings, Sister Shanice and panel, blessing us up from the Gambia. And Mona's watching us from London. Oh, yes, family, as you come in the house, please do give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and also let us know where you are watching us from. We've got Watching the Hawks in the house as well, reminding us that we lack nothing, and that's a fact. Absolutely agree with you on that. You say, but we lack technological know-how. No, I don't. I can't agree with you with that. We've got too many well-renowned scientists. I think we just don't get the credit, get given the credit where credit is due. But let me have a read what it says. It says, we lack nothing. That's a fact. We lack the technological know-how, which to exploit the natural resources, solar equipment, are controlled by Europe and America, which will make us only customers. Okay, yeah, we hear you on that. And China is very much ahead of the game in that regards as well. Yes, but we have to start somewhere. It looks as though we've got our brother Gonza in the house and they finished the load shedding there in Ghana. Welcome, brother Kwame. Hopefully you're hearing us. Okay, we'll go over to Kwame. He may have just frozen there. And we've got the Jughead in the house saying, rise up, Sister Shanice, love to all the panel. Oh, that's Brother Jeff. We've got Joy Drummond in the house watching from Ontario saying, love your show. Big up, Sister Shanice and Brother Abu. Hey, rise up, rise up. We love you too, Sister Joy. Welcome from Ontario. So all of us, to all of you in Ontario. Okay, Brother Kwame, as you can see, is trying to join us. He did let us know that there's some load shedding going on in Ghana right now. So I'm sure that he will be joining us as soon as he's got some proper reception. Yes, yes. Okay, well, today, family, as you know, we're going to be having a discussion, a very important topic for discussion, actually, and it's to do with solar energy and other more efficient means of energy. So let me just pull up my notes here and get the discussion underway, shall we? Actually, let me, before we go straight over to the discussion, we had a little greeting from each of our panel members. Let me just ask our panel for some opening remarks. Maybe there was a particular news story in the news that they just want to briefly mention. Let's run around because our family is still joining us from around the world. So let's get a few opening remarks. Maybe Dr. John will let us know Wagwan in Jamaica. Sister Naja may make us know Wagwan in Kenya. Sister Sheila, from the UKKK. Dr. Abu from London town. Come, let's hear what's going on. Dr. John Lennon, over to you first of all for some opening remarks. Any current affairs issues, anything that you want to share with us by way of opening the topic today?
Current affair issues in Jamaica right now, usually to do with a lot of corruption. Unfortunately, they're going to be quite negative. Corruption, unfortunately, we don't have any roads. Every day you hear on the news of violence. We have trouble now with the COVID-19 that the government just isn't spending enough. We have many issues in Jamaica. The list is too long just to document, to say in just 5 minutes, but hopefully during this discussion, you'll hear more about that.
Yes, we certainly want to hear more of what's going on in Jamaica. Yes, this dreaded big C, just make life hell for everybody everywhere right now. We hear you on that. Nesha, what's going on in Kenya?
I think there's a lot of corruption in all our countries, but one of the things which I wanted, and thank you for this platform and for asking us to share, one of my biggest concerns is that terrorism is back. This is not a surprise because we all know who funds terrorism, don't we?
Absolutely.
And now that Trump is no longer the US president, the C, my eyes of A are back to their dirty business. What has surprised me, though, is that there was a report. I think I'll put it down in the chat below, where the Europeans have actually agreed that Islamist terrorism is funded by, among others, the CIA and by the UK and by the French governments. So it's no longer a conspiracy theory.
A very deeply concerning state of affairs indeed. Terrorism back on the continent, that's the last thing we want. A return to the days of those proxy wars, those Cold Wars, that has to be a thing of the past. There are those powerful forces who earn a lot of money from wars. They're making all of these dreadful, dreadful weapons of mass destruction, and they're always looking for markets. And where there isn't a market, they will create one. It's widely known indeed. And I have been hearing reports about a lot of army military activity happening in Kenya. In fact, about 2 months ago, there was a huge explosion in one of Kenya's parks, that ruined acres and acres of farmland. And, then we're hearing today about soldiers bringing the big C to Kenya as well. Apparently 3 soldiers have gone down with this, scam C issue. We won't say the name, otherwise they might take this down. And it's very concerning. And we did a show a few strongs ago where we were looking at an increase in military activity in a number of African countries, Cameroon, Congo, Mali, on various borders around the Congo as well. It's extremely concerning indeed. And when you consider the number of foreign armed troops that are on the ground on the continent as well, how can you have, a foreign army in your country and not expect there to be trouble? and
Yeah.
problems, especially if they benefit from war.
Yes.
I think we'll have to return to this topic. Did you want to add to that, Sister Neja?
Thank you. Thank you. I give thanks.
Yeah, we will come back to this topic. Dr. Abu, wagwan, where you there?
Well, we're going when we're there, you know that our children still going missing, so we have the young people, we have the respect and the forever family, them standing guard, and them need all of our support, you understand, because it's our children, and we as an organization should support a group that's willing to stand in the defense. Not all of us can go out there and stand up, but we must support those who can stand up. Not all of us can go in the classroom and teach, and we must support them who is doing that, and vice versa. You understand? We must just stand up and I sing Diane Warwick's song, Walk On By. If you see me walking down the street, you see all them things they were set for, make we keep on walking by, but although we dance to it, it's full time we get up and do the right thing, Rise up to those young people right here in the UK that is standing guard and protecting our young one from the pedophile ring them that is running from high and low places. With them.
Voodoo, rise up, Dr. Abu, rise up, Respect, and rise up to all the parents and those who are out there on the streets patrolling around the areas of the schools and where our young people are to ensure the safety of our young people. Voodoo to them, more strength and more power to those ones on the road, protecting our young ones. Thank you for that report, Dr. Abu. Sister Sheila, can we have a report from you? What going on in your area?
I start by, first of all, giving the disclaimer that I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. I don't know what happens outside my immediate environment. I made that decision not to own a TV because it was just giving me anxiety and lies. Having said that, on Sunday, I did go for lunch. And in the place I was, there was a big TV screen that showed, so it was right in front of me. And it showed that there had been protests in London and across the whole world against that device that they are putting on people. So there were protests. I was quite pleased with that news, and I thought maybe I may just get a TV to follow news like that one. So yes, so I can say people have been out there protesting. I had no idea. I was seeing it for the first time there. And so in terms of what's happening around my world, other than what I saw there, protests on Sunday, I don't know much outside there, but I will tell you what's going on around the world where I am with my environment. One thing is that when I checked out of the matrix, checked out of the programming of the news that's going there, I managed to harness my energy and put it into productive things, doing things that help our people. One of them being a show that Sister Najar and I have started together. And this show is called Ukweli Tupu. Ukweli Tupu is Swahili for real truths. And this is a 3-minute show or 1-minute show whereby we just talk about lies that we've been told and we tell you the truth, short minutes, not long, because our people have got short attention span. It is also full moon tomorrow. It was summer solstice on the 21st. During this time, the energies in the air, these are our things, astrology are our things. The energies in the air are geared towards helping us achieve things, propel us further. So again, during the full moon, things come to a culmination, things come to a good closure, things that we need to shed, we shed, things that we need to celebrate, we celebrate. So what has been happening in my world are good things. Greater days lie ahead. Greater days are here with us. I give thanks to be here with all of you and to have this opportunity to share. Thank you.
Thank you to Sister Sheila, and we're delighted to have you here sharing as well. Yes, the world is waking up to the scamdemic, and they're taking to the streets, they're bringing lawsuits, and all sorts is going on right now. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay, but just before we go to the topic, let's go to the chat and see if there are any topics or anything that any comments that the family has been making that we can bring to the attention. So Brian is saying, yes, summer solstice indeed. And Gustav, I think, is watching us from Nairobi, Kenya. Rise up. We've got Nairobi, Kenya in the house. And Montu saying, I still think that too few of us are going into the sciences. True. We need more of us to go into the sciences and technology. And that's what, you know, the great man Marcus Messiah Garvey was telling us over 100 years ago, that we need to go into the sciences, yeah, and engineering and technologies, most definitely. Bryant is saying, this is what I believe, this big C is just a super flu. Yep, it is. Bit of SARS in there, as well as a few other things that they cooked up in the laboratory. Let's see what other comments we've got. Ubuntu's in the house and saying, greetings esteemed panel. Ubuntu's locked in from West Norwood in the KKK. Voodoo, back at you. And Montu saying, that's all they've got to bring, violence, nothing else. Was Kim Jong-un's sister right about America? Someone can let me know what she was saying about America, or let me know in the chat. Montu's also saying that terrorism reaction to the rise of China, they can't pick a fight with them, so they're bringing the fight to Africa. Plus, obviously, you know, if Africa rises, then they are going to be falling and their nations are going to be declining. And this whole big scamdemic was also designed to put Africa back in debt. You know, they come with this big scamdemic, had this low-hanging fruit, which was basically money that all the governments could get from the IMF, you know, a bankrupt IMF, by the way, to in-debt all of the countries, just at a time when they had taken themselves out of debt, just at a time when their productivity was rising and they were beginning, you know, to do, their economies were beginning to do really, really well. They come along with this dreaded facade of a disease that the whole world has bought into, and now look at where these countries are devastated, and they're going to continue, you know, to try and devastate them. Okay, looks as though we've got our brother Kwame in the house. I can see some movement, so I think he may actually be live. Welcome, brother Kwame. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Sister Shanice. I would like to thank everybody on the panel, Dr. Abu, Dr. John, Naja, Shayla, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. And we've gone around, everyone's introduced themselves and given us some opening remarks, basically letting us know what's going on, where they are. What's going on in Ghana, where you are? Please introduce yourself and let us know.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Kwame Gonza. I do work with as a Pan-Africanist, I do work with the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute as the director of media and publicity. I'm also on the board of the Rapid Africa Plan, and also on the board of Africa 55 States. I'm a mechanical engineer. I was born in East Africa. I'm a very, I'm very close to Chebet in Uganda. That is where I was born. So, but most of all, I consider myself as an African. I'm so concerned about the African affairs more than the colonial states. So that is my position. But currently, I'm located in Ghana, where I've been for the last 9 years. I'm coming almost to 10 years. Yeah, so that is where we are, advancing, where we are basing right now to advance the cause of African unity in our lifetime, because we want to see the continent united in our lifetime. And this topic which you brought today, it is very, very dear to my heart. And as my mentor spoke about it, when you speak about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, industrialization, it was very pivotal to him. It was very dear to his heart, the industrialization of Africa. And he looked at Ghana. Actually, he wanted to make Ghana the industrial workshop of the continent. That was his dream. He wanted to churn out production basing in Ghana, and then, you know, spread all the products around the continent. So everything he was doing in Ghana, we can talk of the Akosombo Dam. He built it. During that time, they even criticized him that it is too big for the country, because the country had about 6 million people. But it was fitting in his dream of a Pan-African, you know, of a Pan-Africanist, whereby he wanted to supply energy to Togo and some of the energy to Burkina Faso. So the issue of clean energy, I think it is very, very timely when we talk of Africa, renewable energy in itself. Because when you listen to people like, there is a gentleman called, there's a gentleman who wrote a book called The Third Industrial Revolution. He said that actually what we are entering in right now is the third industrial revolution. Is not necessarily the fourth industrial revolution, because an industrial revolution occurs when three forces come, you know, they converge, and those forces are the transport, and then communication and energy. For example, when we look at the first industrial revolution, we see there was steam as a source of energy, and then we had, that steam was powering the machinery that time. This first revolution occurred in Britain. So the steam was the source of energy that time. It powered the machinery, it powered the train. The train was the transport system that time. And telegram was the means of communication. And when we come to the second industrial revolution, which occurred in the United States, that came with the telephone, and then it came with the hydrocarbons, because we all know that the commercialization of petroleum and diesel happened in the United States. That is where it started from. And then the automobile, when Ford came up with his automobile. So this, whatever has been going on, the advances in technology right now, which have been going on, have not really been complete industrial revolutions. What we are entering in, what they call the third industrial revolution, and that is converging. That is the converging of the renewable energy as the source of power, which is going to power the machineries. The next industries are going to be powered by renewable energy. When you talk of solar, you can talk of wind energy. All these are abundant when we are talking about Africa. Now, our industries as Africa are supposed to be powered by this kind of energy.
So we're going to come back, Brother
electric
Kwame.
cars.
Brother Kwame, we will come back and we'll give you more time to talk. We were just getting some opening remarks. We haven't actually started. Well, we've started now, going into the topic. Thank you so much for that. But let me go around the room, and we will be coming back to you, because I just want to open the topic and allow Dr. John to come in, and then we'll get contributions from everyone and some more contributions from yourself. But thank you for that bit of historical context, my brother. Absolutely fantastic. Yes. So, family, today's discussion, as you've heard, it's going to be about renewable energy. Africa and the Caribbean, as you know, absolutely bursting with an abundance of sunshine, and the potential is there, for renewable solar panel solar power. And the possibilities are considerably underutilized at the moment. As young Kwame was just saying there as well, there's also huge potential for wind power energy as well. We've got the sea and, the ferocity of the water underneath the waves that could also be generating clean power, you know, but we're not exploiting it to the extent that we ought to be and could be. And so one of the questions we're going to be asking today is it time for Africa and the Caribbean to be liberating itself from the Western exploitative energy systems such as oil and gas, which is really restricting Africa's growth and development, especially industrially? And, you know, are we, as our brother was saying, you know, on the verge now of a new industrial revolution, which involves or ought to involve, you know, these new clean renewable energies? And is this something that Africa ought to be at the forefront of? In our discussion today, we're also going to be talking about the fact that, you know, systemic racism plays its part in every facet, in every institution, and in everything we do. And, you know, is it that systemic racism is an integral part of this whole climate change agenda, this whole renewable energy agenda, you know, that's holding us back? We may be touching on the role of the World Bank and the IMF as well. And to what extent are they actually involved in maybe, you know, blocking the potential progress in this area? So to start the conversation, it looks as though I've lost my guest who's meant to be coming in first. Hopefully he will be coming back very soon to open the conversation for us on this. So, you know, of course, we might touch on Akon as well and the work that he's doing in Senegal. Let's go over to our panel for a really interesting discussion on this topic, starting first with Nasher. Rise up, Sister Nasher. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, greetings, everybody. So, where to start? Kenya is very aware about renewable sources of energy. Let me call it like that. And the government actually did start with various what are called wind projects, wind power projects. There are two that I know of that are functioning. One is up in Lake Turkana. The first one was in a place which is called Gong Hills, and they do generate wind energy. We also do make use of our solar energy. We do. To the point where today a lot of people, when they construct their buildings, they construct them first with solar panels. And there was a little article in the news the other day where our major electric company was actually creating a fuss and wanted to fine people for being on solar power because they weren't getting money because of how many of us have gone off grid. Then there's also the permaculture movement. The permaculture movement are those who believe that they can get, and they do get, gas from their animals. There are projects around the country. There's a friend of mine who actually won an award for an eco toilet, where the toilet is used to make cooking gas, right? These are public toilets. So yes, for Kenya, I think we are ahead and we do use these renewable sources. They are in the market. There's even a company which is called, I think it's called M-Corp, I'm not sure what it's called. But what they do is that they loan out little solar panels. So you pay for them bit by bit. So you pay You pay for the solar panel bit by bit. At some point, it's yours, and then after that, you don't use this. You don't pay to any grid. There's also a, I forget the name of it. And if there's anyone who's listening in, please add on into the comments. Okay, please. But I know that there's a slum project, especially in Kibera, where they are using plastic water bottles, inverting them in such a way that they provide light through the refraction and reflection of the water. And it provides light for many, many dark rooms in our slums. So yes, we are aware as a country that we need to take a step away from the consumption of energy, electricity, and use other methods of electricity and other methods of energy. I give thanks. Thank you.
We give thanks to you. Oh, thank you so much for giving us an insight into the new energies that, more efficient energies that's being used in Kenya right now. Wow, what an ingenious invention as well, using plastic bottles as light reflectors. Yeah, that, you know, and what I suppose countries like Britain are really good at, when they come across these sorts of inventions, what they tend to do is scale it up to a commercial level. And so, you know, it's for the young people in Kenya, before the big companies come in, to look at how they could actually be scaling up a project like that, so that it's, you know, these plastic bottle technology, lighting technology, is providing lighting to hundreds and then thousands of homes in that area. Oh, thank you for those opening remarks there. And I think we'll need to interview that friend of yours as well, that's developed, you know, the power from the from the waste, from human waste. Wow, wow, wow. You see how creative we are as a people? Let's go over to Sister Sheila for a contribution on this topic.
Yes, I would add to what Sister Najara said. Yes, human waste has been used in Kenya to generate electricity. And this has been happening for a very, very long time, because I remember the first time I heard of it, I was a teenager and I was a bit grossed out with it, because I thought, ooh, yeah. But now, having paid electricity bills, and in the UK with heating bills and gas bills, I tell you, if there was a way in which energy could come from human waste, I gladly support that, because it's cheaper to begin with, and it's continuous. You never run out. That aside, this week I will start with a story, as I always do. This week I was contacted by a friend of mine that I haven't seen for a long time. We were last together in university. We were trying to join a degree in journalism and mass communication. I wanted so much to be in the media, but the money they were asking for was so much, and my parents were not supportive of media, of young girls or young women being in the media. They felt it came with a negative reputation, and it gave you so much visibility, which would affect your marriageability. So it was an idea that was shot down completely. So I forwent the media dreams and all that. My friend had support, and she went ahead, did media, did all that, got in the business. So, and then we lost contact, because I did a different degree, she did a different one. And then she contacted me a few days ago over this show. She actually saw this show, and she contacted me to say, hey, I saw you're on international media nowadays. How did you get there? Did you go to school and study this and all that? And I told her, I have no degree in mass media or in journalism or any of those. It is just passion. And that informs my discussion today. A lot of us wait to be given permission, or we wait to tick some boxes, or we wait, for someone to say, it's okay, do this, for us to do it. Well, some of us know that this is what we want, and this is what we need to go do, and off we go. Like me appearing here on this show, coming all the time. Thank you very much, Sister Shanice, for giving me this opportunity. Always coming, being ready to talk. So without any training on media, without any journalism or mass communication degree behind me, but here I come. It is the same when it comes to energy, because we started this conversation by saying, do we lack the technology? Do we lack the skills to do this? A lot of the time it is in that. A lot of the time is because we are waiting for permission, and we're waiting for permission from the West. We're waiting for them to say, right, Africa, you can do this and you can do that and you can do this. We've got the sun. We've got the human waste. We've got the wind. We've got the water. We've got all these things, and we've got the technology. Let's not forget the pyramids, the great pyramids, which they lie to us that they are tombs, which they aren't. Those great pyramids, according to their own research, which we already knew, they say that it gathers in the center, they gather electromagnetic waves, the light, electricity, and light and heat can be generated. We're talking thousands of years ago. These are our ancestors. They could manage to harness electricity and energy from the sun and put it in the chamber. So meaning this information is in our DNA. We have it. If we wanted to do this, we would have done it. But we are here talking all sanctions, all systemic racism, all this and all that. While this is energy we can harness. In Kenya, Sister Najar will bear me witness. Young children, especially boys, they get wires, little wires. They make cars using wires, folding here and there, using their hands. Then they get little bulbs from torches. They get little batteries. They do wiring. They wire these cars that they make, and the cars light up, and the cars can go off. They even make remote controls. These are children that have not been taught any engineering, any mechanical science, nothing at all. But they make these things from scratch. They can light up a toy. These children, if you harness that potential, you want to tell me they cannot light up a house? You want to tell me they cannot light up a company? You want to tell me they cannot set up a factory running by itself? They can. We've got these things in us. But the problem is that we are waiting for some box to be ticked. We're waiting to go to university to be given a certificate by the oppressor telling us, go ye and perform this. We are waiting to get the money to go to this, they call them the Ivy Leagues university, to come up with a big name to say, now you can go and do this. While these things, we don't need to ask permission. We can actually go and do it. And one final thing I would say, we were talking, as I mentioned astrology earlier on. I'm very big in astrology. So I was talking about where the planets were. And at the moment, the way the planets are lined up, it looked like the food supply was going to be affected. I'm not going to go into details and say where is it, but it looked like the food supply was going to be affected. And as it was, The Guardian yesterday said that ice cold foods are going to be affected in the UK. Anyway, when I was giving this talk in my school, I've got a life coaching school. When I was giving this talk in my school, people were were panicking. And I said, every Kenyan, and this Sister Najari will bear me witness, every Kenyan has got a piece of land somewhere. Even if it's a little piece of land, there is no Kenyan that does not have access to some little piece of land. That little piece of land, you can grow your kitchen garden. You can grow your fruits. You can grow your vegetables. You can eat. But a lot of us like to go to the supermarket and buy that packaged food with an expiry date, which, that has been packaged and washed and waxed. We don't want to go and dig and plant. We are again waiting for permission. A lot of things in Kenya, again, grow widely. We've got what we call our traditional vegetables, Najar, Kenyeji. They just grow widely. You don't even need to plant. You just go and harvest. This is in the village. Again, we don't want to do that. We want in the supermarket to go and buy, the processed foods, very packed in very nice packages, We want to go and buy those ones. So a lot of the time it ties into that thing of always wanting permission, always wanting to do things, not wanting to think. So it is not for lack of skill sets. It's not for lack of technological know-how. It is purely laziness. I would say in this case, there is laziness, whereby we sit and wait to be told, do this, do that, or we sit and be told you have to do this and do this and do this for you to do this. While, simple thing, It simply could go there and say, this is what we want. We are going to start, and we are going to start here where we are. I give thanks.
We give thanks to you too, Sister Sheila. We should not be waiting for permission. We need to just do it. And family, we need to encourage and we need to support those young children there that are, you know, have got these natural scientific skills. And as you say, if they can light up cars, they surely can be lighting up houses. They just need the encouragement to do so. Maybe as adults, we need to be organizing some competitions for them so that we can, you know, finance these competitions and encourage and inspire them. You know, this is how we get the entrepreneurship out of them as well. Dr. Abu, let's go over to you.
I give way to Dr. Lennon, because go on, Dr. Lennon. Go on.
All right, Dr. Abu. And yeah, let's bring in Dr. John, who is, you know, our special guest on this topic. And, you know, he has come to really bring quite a bit of information from Jamaica's perspective on this. But as we know, you know, it impacts on all of us wherever we are, because some of the challenges that Jamaica is experiencing, we are also experiencing other parts of the world where we are as a people. So let's go over to our brother John at this moment.
Okay, thanks, Sister Shanice. Well, we just had a power cut, and I'm telling you, if we had solar, we wouldn't have a power cut, would we? And that's one of the issues that we have here. But did anybody mention about the actual viability of solar energy? Did anybody talk about that? That's one of the issues that we have, that everybody only talks about renewable energy and climate change. But if you talk about climate change to poor people in Jamaica, you're not going to engage them. Now, if you tell them, if you put in solar panels, it can give you cheaper electricity or deliver free education, deliver work, then they will engage with you and they will demonstrate and demand solar. That's one issue that we have. So if we look at those things, if we're trying to promote renewable energy, then probably it will work. Because over in Jamaica now, we have schools, high schools on the grid, and their monthly bills are over 8,000 US a month. 8,000 a month. Now, if you come to Jamaica and decide to put solar panels into a school, it's June now, next year, this time, it would have paid for itself already. It takes 1 year for a school to pay back for solar panels. Yet all our schools are on the grid. And there are two examples of this that I'll give you. There's a school called Holy Trinity. Back in 2014, they reported this as their $8,000 bills. And they had a charity put in a few solar panels. And then when they looked at their usage, they discovered that an $80,000 system could take them completely off the grid. That's 10 bills. In 2017, another school did the same thing, but this school, their bills were an astonishing $32,000 a month. I don't know how any school can have that kind of bill. I just don't understand it. But again, they put in some solar panels and discovered that 320,000 would take them completely off the grid. So it's 10 bills. Yet again, all our schools are on the grid. And because you've got bills like that, obviously the schools are going to have to charge fees. Now, we all know, as African brothers and sisters, what that means. You're going to have educational apartheid. The good schools get the money, they get educated, and then the poor schools, the rural areas, they're not even fit for purpose. Now, that's schools, and they operate in daylight hours. So you're going to think then, what about like a hospital that works 24/7? Well, in 2014, one of our biggest hotels, it came off the grid and created the biggest, at the time, the biggest solar farm in the Caribbean. And they reported that it would only take them 4 years to pay back, just 4 years. Now, this is 2014, and the technology has moved quantum leaps. So if it's 4 years then, it's safe to say it would only take you, say, about 3 years now to do it, for the payback period. So if you look at borrowing now, you're thinking, well, where are you going to get the money from now? to make a massive investment like that. So what would you do if you're buying a house? You'd borrow the money. So if you have, say we have two hotels, then Hotel A and Hotel B, and they're both paying $1 million a year. So Hotel A stays on the grid, paying 1 million. Hotel B decides, okay, then I'm going to get solar panels. How much money do I need? I need 4 million because the payback period is 4 years. So we're going to get 4 million. So they can go to a bank, and the bank will, as an example, the bank says, okay, then we'll lend you the money at 25% interest. And we're going to lend you. So you want 4 million, but we'll give you 4 million, and we want you to give us back 5 million over 10 years. So that would mean that hotel now, Hotel B, is going to be paying 500,000 every year. You with me? So we got Hotel A now is paying 1 million every year, but Hotel B has put in solar panels, and now it's only paying 500 million. So coming to year 11, Hotel B will be paying 0, where Hotel A continues to pay. So you can see if you borrow, immediately you're making a saving. So immediately you can see it is economically viable if you borrow. Now, our government won't borrow like that. Our governments borrow for crap. I'm going to say other word, for rubbish. Like they're building a $50 million parliament building. You can't pay for that. You can only pay for it by austerity. So we know that we can borrow to take all our infrastructure off the grid. Now, the annual bill in Jamaica for all our infrastructure with your hotels and your schools, etc., that bill is 150 million every year. So we know we need about 600 million. That's the investment we need to take everything off the grid. Now, if we'd have started that program back in 2014, then all of our infrastructure would be off the grid today. You with me? But 2014 was when the big hotel came off the grid. So if the government has recognized what that hotel had done, it could have taken our hospitals, schools, street lights, everything off the grid in 2014. And now in 2021, everything could have been paid for by now. And the thing is, even today, if you said that you went to the market to borrow for this, you're going to find a lender. Because if you tell a pension fund, look, lend me the money and we'll pay you 10% interest, that's brilliant. The pension fund will lend you the money. So it's not an issue. We can easily find the money in Africa to do it. You're going to find people, your rich people, your LeBron James and all these people with a lot of money. They will lend you this money. So it is easy for us to find the money throughout the Caribbean and Africa to put in the infrastructure. But unfortunately, we have the West that won't really allow that to happen. But in Jamaica now, we don't even have to borrow the money, because I just recently found out the other day that we can easily pay for it. We can easily pay for it. At the moment, I think all the countries in the world are heavily indebted. Now, Jamaica spends $875 million every year to service the debt. Now, that is a contractual obligation. Just like if you have a mortgage, you have to pay the bank X amount of pounds every month for your mortgage. It's the same thing. So we have to find 875 million. Our government has decided that we want to pay back the debt as quick as possible. So we're going to actually spend 1.8 billion every year. Why would you spend 1.8 billion every year during COVID? Every other government in the world is spending money, but not the Jamaican government. It's gone the other way. It is actually trying to pay off debt instead of trying to invest money and build the country. So the government, the parliamentarians made this agreement within themselves and made a law that we're going to pay down on debt and get it down to 60% by 2028. So I'm saying, if you want to do it by 28, well, put it to 2029. Just move it up 1 year. You with me? And then that you'll free up 925 million, now, aren't you? You with me? Because at the moment you pay, the debt that we need to pay is 875. They're paying 1.8 billion. So they're overpaying by 925 million. Just by shifting the can 1 year, we will have 925 million that we can invest. And as I mentioned before, it takes 600 million is the estimate to take all our infrastructure off the grid. So straight away, you can pay for that. Just imagine the amount of jobs you're going to create from doing that. Then you can build also your waste to energy, your recycling. These are things that we don't have. You have them in the West, but we don't have these things in Jamaica or in the Caribbean or in Africa. We just dump our rubbish or burn it, or it just gets dumped into the sea. So these are things that we can actually do. Now, we also have, if you look at manufacturing as well, because we can have, I think, I can't remember who mentioned it before, I think it was Kwame who mentioned that we can actually have solar-powered factories and wind-powered factories. So that's another avenue where you can actually create jobs just by moving away the amount that, okay, no, yeah, I'll give you an example, because I actually bought a prop with me. This tin of beans here costs $1 US, 150 Jamaican dollars. And written on here, it says manufactured and packed in Italy. So you're going to tell me that we can't manufacture these in Jamaica for cheaper? Surely we can.
Oops. I think our brother may have frozen. Has our brother frozen?
The energy.
Wait to me. Okay, my brother John, you froze for a little while. Okay, you're back. I think you may be back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you got up to the point where you were saying, surely we can manufacture those tin produces in Jamaica, of course, because you've got the technology there. You've got Grace, you've got other tin manufacturers in Jamaica already, haven't you? So the technology is there. Okay, we're going to come back to our brother John, because it seems as though his system has frozen at the moment. But yeah, we could all African and Caribbean countries can most definitely save, if they were producing their produces at home. And also, it would bring jobs and opportunities to young people in those countries as well, if, they were manufacturing their produces locally. Definitely the sort of revolutionary progress we want to see happening in the Caribbean and on the continent. Let me just see if John is back with us now. John, please talk to us. Let's see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Please continue.
Okay, right. So I was saying that we can actually easily compete, easily outcompete Italy and the West when it comes to producing certain produce. If you remember, that's what the Chinese did with their massive growth. They produced things cheaply and then flooded the market because they were paying for cheap, the wages were cheap there. So we can do the same thing in Jamaica. Even if we pay a living wage, which we don't, if we paid a living wage to produce, we could still be more competitive than these countries. So I don't understand, well, I do understand why the IMF and the World Bank, they're making sure prevent that countries like Jamaica, that we don't invest in renewable energy. Because if we do invest in renewable energy, immediately we'll become very, very competitive. People could actually move their manufacturing here. And so that's one of the things that why we're always going to have this difficulty throughout all our countries of actually getting renewable energy into our countries. And we have to actually expose the World Bank and the IMF, because they have the policies that they've created in Jamaica are preventing us from doing what we need to do here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, my brother, we hear you on that. We will come back to you for more on this topic as well. I think you was just cracking up a little bit towards the end there. So let's move the conversation on. And I like the idea about, you know, producing things more cheaply on the continent, in the Caribbean. And then, you know, that puts us in a very competitive place in the global market. Why are we not doing it? You know, this is what's going to be happening. These have got to be, these initiatives and ideas have got to form part of our plans for the future. Most definitely. John, you know, thank you very much for outlining there the situation in Jamaica. I'm sure we could all see a lot of synergy there in what you were saying. Look at the savings that the schools and the hospitals can be making, you know, within a few years, just by going over to solar. It makes no economic sense whatsoever, you know, for African and the Caribbean countries in this day and age to still be using, you know, those old outdated fuels. It's like being in the steam age, you know, when the technology exists, you know, for a more cleaner, a more efficient energy supply. And we're still holding on to steam or holding on to coal, you know, with all of the problems that go with it. Not to mention the high cost. Let's go over to Kwame. Kwame, I can see you've posted something in the chat there. Not sure if I can add it because I'm using a free package here. And oh yes, it has made me, I have been able to add it. Okay, let's see if we can make that full screen for everyone to see. Brother, Kwame, let's bring you in here.
I think that is enough, Sister Shanice. I just, when we are speaking about Africa, is something which I can talk on and on and on. I can talk for a full year when we are talking about Africa, because of the way Africa is really dear to my heart and its people and our people all around the world. They are very dear to my heart. Africa, when we talk of the Sahara Desert, we have enough sunshine, you know, in the northern part of Africa. When we go to the south, we have the Kalahari Desert, you know, which is part of it is Botswana around there, Namibia, and all those places. We can produce enough solar energy. When we go around the continent, we can produce enough wind energy, because when you look at the eastern part of the continent, we have these monsoon winds which come from, you know, from the Indian side of the continent. So we really have no excuse for not producing all these energies. So for now, what I can say is that each of us, when we come to Africa and we plan to build a house, at least each of us should plan to have solar panels on the house, because as we have seen, the cost of solar panels since 2010 has dropped drastically. The solar panels, I know about the renewable energy myself, because I do install solar systems on one of our workplaces as well, on our workplaces, and some of the things which I'm engaged in. And if you look at the price of the solar, you know, panels and how it has dropped down, like for example, since 2010, the price has fallen by 82%. So a kilowatt hour of solar energy, which was 0.37 10 years ago, is now 0.068, you know, US dollars. So that means the solar energy has really dropped. If you get 2 solar panels of 250 watts and you put them on your house, just 2 solar panels, which will cost you around $180, just $180, is very, very, very cheap. The 2 solar panels, they will cost you around $180. You can be able to power your TV, things like light. So you can be able to cut your consumption, you know, drastically, and even avoid this load shedding. But what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is for Africa to be able to manufacture its own things, its own solar panels, for example. That is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is for Africa to be able to manufacture its own batteries, lithium batteries, to store this energy. We have seen people like Elon Musk, who is the founder and the proprietor, the owner of Tesla Motors. He was able to go to Australia, put up batteries and support the country. They are harvesting solar energy and storing that energy in big batteries. So Africa can do the same thing because we have the materials. But why are we not doing it? We have a problem. We have a problem that we have to recognize. We have to recognize that we have a very big problem, and this problem has been spoken about by our ancestors. And I want to repeat, because I spoke about this during our morning show, that Dr. Nkrumah outlined. There is things in his speeches. When you go and examine his speeches, there is things which he spoke about, repeatedly. And if someone repeats something over and over again, you have to go out there and pay attention to why the person was saying such a thing. He spoke repeatedly about the problem of neocolonialism and imperialism, how it is coming back to Africa. And we did not listen. During that time, the presidency did not listen. And when I heard Dr. John Lennon talking about the World Bank and IMF and how it impedes Jamaica in moving the direction of renewable energy, this is the same thing which Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was talking about. When we talk about neocolonialism and imperialism, these are the institutions which we are talking about, that they are holding Africa backwards. They don't want Africa to move forward. They don't want Africa to be independent. And we have to address these issues. We have to be bold enough and address these issues. Because when you look at Jamaica, or you look at Barbados, you look at Haiti, all these, their center of gravity is in Africa. That is where all of us as a Black people, as a race, our center of gravity is in Africa. So when we see France misbehaving and mining uranium and taking it all over, this uranium which we should be using to build our own nuclear power plants on the continent, because the continent is all over surrounded by oceans. You look at a country like Ghana, you look at a country like Sierra Leone. I was in Sierra Leone and they have a badge, a power badge from Turkey. It's the same thing with Ghana. So these power badges, they're like ships. They use crude oil to produce energy and give it to the grid. And now the country pays these people a lot of money. But Sierra Leone and Ghana, these are countries which are on the Atlantic Ocean, which can easily, these countries which can easily produce nuclear energy, which can use nuclear energy to power their grid. But this is not done because it is deliberate. We have a cartel of multinational companies that connive with the World Bank and IMF just to impoverish Africa. So we have to address, we have to be bold enough as a people and address these problems and not shy away from them, because it's a narrative. Once the narrative is created, these people create the narrative constantly that this is the right thing. The right thing is for us to go and borrow from the IMF. The right thing is for us to listen to the IMF. It is a narrative that is being created every day. And I find such opportunities as this, when we have our conversations where we can have them here, that we can use also this opportunity to deconstruct these narratives that we really don't need to go and borrow from the IMF. We need to construct factories to manufacture solar panels in Africa. This is the narrative which we have to push, because our presidents are pushed in that direction and they continue to go in that direction. And we are here, we have the knowledge, we have, we know what it takes, we know what is supposed to be done. So if we also know, then we are supposed to, continue pushing that narrative, our own narrative, our African narrative. Because those people in the IMF, they are pushing the European narrative on the Africans. and they are exploiting us because that is their survival. That is how they are supposed to survive. That is how they are surviving. That is how they have paved roads. That is how they have, you know, good hospitals. That is how they have good houses. Why our people don't have electricity? You see. So and I'm really the other thing is that I'm really appreciative of Kenya. What I had in Kenya recently, that Kenya right now has the biggest wind power, power farm in Africa right now. And also the Kenyans took unto themselves the duty of opposing the government in, when it is trying to go to the IMF to try to borrow more money when they don't see where the money is being used. So these are the necessary steps we as a people, we as African people. This thing is not supposed to be done only in Kenya, but it's supposed to be done in all of Africa. So when we talk of renewable energy, this is the direction which we are supposed to go, because renewable energy is the one which is going to power the next industrial revolution. And China is already leading in this. We already know that China is leading in producing solar panels, is leading the world. We know in high-speed rail, which is powered by electricity, China is already leading the world in that direction. We all know, these things that are happening. We know in electric vehicles, we know China is still leading. So like I was saying in the beginning, the industrial revolution, which we are entering, that China is leading, which is the third industrial revolution, is coming together through the convergence of three forces. The automobile, electric automobile, which is no more powered by hydrocarbons, which is diesel and petrol. And then the Internet of Things as a means of communication. And then we have the source of power, which is the renewable energy. Okay, so if we have solar, you are harvesting your solar energy or from your roof on the house, and you're using that solar energy to power your vehicle which you are driving. There's no need for you to buy petrol. Okay, there's no need. And then the Internet of Things, you are charging your phone on the same energy which you are harvesting from your roof. So that is why I call on all Africans everywhere where they are. If you are building a house, consider putting 2 solar panels, starting with 2 solar panels. 2 solar panels is not that expensive, because 1 solar panel, when I calculate here, it is around 250 watts solar panel. It is around $90. $90 is around 500, 500 Ghana cedis in when you talk about money in Ghana. But the 2 solar panels which can power your TV, they can power even lights in the house, just around $180. So it is very, very important that although the governments are not right now moving in the direction where we want them, we can start ourselves as a people, that when you build your house, you put this in consideration. But the ultimate solution for us as a people, as African people, is to push for a united African state, because there is no tool under the sun that we are going to use against imperialism and neo-colonialism. We don't have any tool that we are going to use to fight the IMF and the World Bank and Europe and the United States. There's no tool under the sun. So the only tool that was left to us by Dr. Kwame and all the other great people like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, is unity. People like Kwame Ture, they said organize and unify as a people and build yourself a united, a United States of Africa. So once we know that we have achieved this, then we have protected ourselves. Then we can roll out. You can see what China is doing. It is just recently in 2007 that China started building high-speed rail network, and it just borrowed the technology from Germany. But now they are leading the world in high-speed rail network. So because it is a state-led, this is a state-led enterprise, it is a state-led policy. The solar energy itself, when you talk about it, it is a state-led policy. When you talk about electric vehicles, China is leading the world because these are state-led policies. So this is what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was talking about. that unify you people. Let us unify the continent. So when we unify our continent, then we get power. We get power to close off all the interference from outside. France now is disturbing all over the continent, all over the West African part of the continent, because the continent has been left open. It is not unified, it is not consolidated. So once we consolidate our continent, everyone is speaking about our continent. All of us, you are in Kenya, you speak about our continent. You don't live out Chad. You are in, in Uganda, you speak about what is happening in Mali. We condemn what France is doing. We do not allow these things to go on. Then we will consolidate this continent by ourselves. Then we will unify the continent. Then we can roll out these policies which we are talking about. Plans like the Rapid Africa Plan can be rolled out because this is an industrial policy. Then we can build the high-speed rail networks all the way from the eastern part of the continent to the western part of the continent, from the southern part of the continent to the northern part in Egypt, all the way to Cairo, from Cape to Cairo. Highways, we build them. Solar panels, we produce them. Batteries, we produce them. We move at a rapid rate, like the same speed which China is moving, because we have seen how nations now are built. We are more knowledgeable now. All of us are more knowledgeable.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to you, my brother.
So, yeah.
Kwame, your line is cracking up a bit, so we will come back to you. Again, it's just testimony of the challenges that we have, trying to broadcast from the continent and in the Caribbean. We lost our brother John as well. This is the second time we've lost him during this stream because of power outages where he is. We could have a power outage here where I am at any time as well. And as we were saying, this should not be happening, ought not to be happening, because we've got the sun that we could be harnessing, the wind. When we were in Zimbabwe, we visited Musuya Tunya, that the Europeans renamed Victoria Falls. Look at the ferocity of the water there, and the amount of energy that could be generating, I want to rise up. Happy Companion in the house. He's asking everyone to like, share, and subscribe. Please do. Yes, do like, do share, and please do subscribe. And also check out Happy Companion's YouTube channel as well. Rise up, my brother. And yes, Brother Kwame, as always, invaluable contribution. We need to create our own narrative. We absolutely need to do that as well. And we've got to start talking it up. It's the right thing to go green. It's the right thing to have green energy. And when we talk about green energy, we're talking about solar, wind energy, alternative energies. It's the right thing. And that's got to be our talk. Let's talk up the thing. Most definitely. It's affordable now. It's come down considerably in price, so we need to be working towards a green economy on an individual level, on an industrial level, on a national level, and on an international level. As Sister Sheila was saying, let's not wait to be told. Let's not wait to be, given permission, to go green. Let's just do it because we know it's the right thing to do. I think we've got our brother John back. No, not yet. Okay, I'll bring him back as soon as we've got him back stage. So really good discussion that we're having here, family. We're talking about going green as a people. This has got to be our narrative. We're saying it's the right thing to go green. It's the right thing to harness the sun energy. Our ancestors used to do it. Someone posted in the chat that, a nuclear reactor was discovered something like 1 billion years ago. So it was clear that our ancestors way back in time were using, nuclear power for energy. And as our sister was saying, Sister Sheila was saying, that knowledge still exists within our DNA. And, you know, we just need to give our children, you know, the encouragement and the inspiration that they need in order to bring out, you know, those genes of genius that they have already inside of them. Dr. Abu, let's hear from you before we go around the room again. Rise up, Doctor. Do you want to comment on anything that's been said so far?
Yeah, Vodum family.
Vodum.
Clean energy start with the family blood. That is where clean energy start with, family. And that expand out into the nation. The reason why Africa and the Caribbean is in this synthetic energy is because they're not thinking about the family. They're not, these parliamentarians, they're not thinking about the family, they're thinking about the corporation. And this is what we face as a people. You understand? Them of Africa, RIP, rest in peace. Religion, industry, politics. All of these come after we as a family. We come from a family. We don't come from politics. We don't come from religion. We don't come from industry. Anytime we get back to our family and start to work from this, you see the clean, clear energy that we produce. Right now, what we are producing is to kill the family, not to build the family. You understand? Because we rather have our bank account full while our brothers and sisters dying on the roadside. And then we're gonna talk about clean energy. Clean energy starts from within here. We have to get back our own mind. You understand? And the clean energy is how we treat one another. Our attitude and our behavior towards one another helps our environment, help our just nation building. You know, see? And we have to look on certain things, you know. The reason we are in a country where the energy is so polluted, you can't tell man from woman. You understand? Because it make even some of our mind go crazy when we start to admit to the falseness them that we see. You understand? So as I said, clean energy, natural energy, is we have to get our mind and start to support brothers like Dr. Lennon and what Kwame and the rest of them do. We have to support these things to bring those things into existence with them.
Vodum, rise up, Dr. Abu. Yes, yes. When we talk about energy, you know, we're going right down to the level of the family, most definitely. And, you know, this is what Brother Kwame was saying as well, when we're talking about, you know, even if we're building a house, if we're building a business, we need to think green energy, clean energy. We need to think solar. We need to be making these savings. And as, you know, Anthony has said in the chat, the 54 African countries need to move as one. Most definitely goes back to what our Brother Kwame was saying about the need for us to always remember that our ultimate objective is, you know, one united Africa, the United States of Africa. So yes, Anthony, we would agree with you. We need to move as one, otherwise they will be picked off one by one. Let's see what other comments we've got in the chat room here. So Obiaman is saying, multinationals have not yet given up on fossil fuel, and hence the West is supporting these outmoded fuels. The instructions coming from down on high is therefore fossil. Yeah, that's right. But that doesn't mean we have to buy into it. If we all opt out of it, if we all started doing green, you know, then it would be a case of there not being the demand for what it was they are providing. I think we've got to RIP fossil fuels, RIP, you know, all of this oil drilling, you know, that's been going on and causing massive devastation and environmental pollution and devastation to our countries. What else have we got in the chat? RIP equal religion, industry, politics, our downfall. We hear you on that, Kimani. Dr. Abu makes great sense. Some of our people do not understand, and that's from Aries. Absolutely. Supply and demand, exactly. For as long as we continue to keep utilizing those toxic fossil fuels, they will continue to start pumping it. I'm in the Gambia right now, and I'm telling you the amount of petrol stations that are opening up. You know, the amount, everywhere you look, a new petrol station is being opened up. Why? We ought to be going over to, you know, cars can run on water. Cars can run off of steam. You know, we know this. Cars can run off of solar energy. Why are we still, you know, continuing to allow the Western world to, you know, put outdated infrastructure in our countries? Let's see what else we've got here in the chat. I'm a technical engineer, and yes, this technical thing can be utilized in Africa. Yeah, first time we want to hear more from you on that. What is the technical thing that you are referring to? Is it the solar panels that we're discussing now? We need fields of solar panels being made on the continent, in the continent. You know, we've got Akon doing a great job in Senegal. He's just one man, and look how much he is doing. Just imagine if more of our leaders had the mind like our brother Akon has. Let's go around the room and get some more comments from some of our panel members. Going back to Najah, let's bring you in here, my sis. Najah?
Yes, yes, I'm back. Thank you. I want to give thanks to First Time. That's your name. I'm a technical engineer. And I don't know which country you're from, but like Sheila was saying before, in Kenya, we have this, every child is an engineer. And we grow up as children really experimenting with everything. Let me give you an example. There are many, many people who light up their homes with car batteries. Yes, that is very common. That's just one example. When I first came to Nanyuki, I wondered why the tractors in this market town didn't. They smelt different, and I was told it is because they use a diesel which is made from the seeds of the croton tree. And there's a factory here which produces that diesel. So around here, that's what tractors use. And it's far cheaper. There's, in Nairobi, I know that, you know, this restaurants, when they use oil to cook that thick slime that is usually from the bottom of the basket.
Please.
Yeah, that one. It's sold. It's sold to some young men who started a kind of an industry where they recycle it, and it is diesel. It becomes diesel. So all these are alternative sources of energy that we use. And I find Kenyans very, very fascinating because we don't stop. We don't stop when we're experimenting. We just continue And am I live?
I think our sis has just frozen there. Wow, wow, wow. You know, Kenya sounds like a hub of inventions, doesn't it? So much creativity going on. And there is a saying, and I was trying to remember it, but I can't remember. Maybe someone will remember it in the chat. It's to do with, you know, it's something to do with like your circumstances being, the source of our creativity and invention.
Your circumstances being.
Someone will remember it and maybe put it in the chat for me. There is a saying, you know, to do with inventions and that, you know, and our circumstances bringing out these sorts of inventions as well. Okay, let's go over to Sister Sheila, and we'll bring back Sister Naja when she comes back. Sister Sheila.
That statement is called "Necessity is the mother of invention."
Hey, that's the one. Necessity
is the mother of invention.
It's the mother of invention. Right,
yes.
Sister Sheila.
And in the UK, you can use cooking oil as diesel. Cooking oil is biodiesel, but in the UK, you're only allowed a certain amount of liters to use within a year, and it comes down to tax. So you can use it, but you're not supposed to use a certain, I think it's very little amount you're supposed to use. Comes down to tax, because they cannot tax you if you're using your own cooking oil, but they will tax you if you're using petrol. So there is money around it. But yes, cooking oil can be used. It's a biodiesel. Speaking of what we do in Kenya, again, necessity being the mother of invention. A few years ago, I received a letter from my backlist bank in the UK, and they were telling me that there was something called Pingit. Pingit, P-I-N-G-I-T, and they were holding something to do. They were holding something to do with that, and they were inviting me for this day to go and see. And they wrote, I saw what was happening on the day. There was going to be a lot of free food, free things, and I decided, there was going to be an allowance, so I decided to go. I wasn't really interested in the Pingit. I was interested in the packs that came with going there. Anyway, so I went there, and as I arrived there, I realized that they had actually invited people from Kenya. That's even one reason why I was on their radar, because my bank knows I'm from Kenya. And they had invited people from Kenya to come and talk to the people in the UK about a certain money system we call M-Pesa. For those in the channel that are listening to this, M-Pesa, which again is in East Africa, is whereby we use the phone to do transactions using money. It is not a mobile app. It is just a system by itself. So salaries are paid by M-Pesa, shopping is done by M-Pesa, everything is done by M-Pesa. Sister Naja is back, so she can bear credence on what I'm saying about M-Pesa. So we do everything with M-Pesa. We even pay electricity with M-Pesa. We even transfer credit. Like if I run out of money on my phone, if I run out of data, I can tell someone to send it to me via M-Pesa. So M-Pesa is a system, is a money system. So we never have to handle money anymore. We can even transfer money from M-Pesa to the bank account, and from the bank account to M-Pesa. Like now, if I wanted to send money to my people in Kenya, I can do it using my app on the phone to send to M-Pesa. And my mom will receive the money on the phone. She doesn't need to go to the bank. She can cash that money, or she can use that M-Pesa to do her shopping and everything. So this is a system that started in Kenya, and it's now in the whole of East Africa. So even salaries, we pay via M-Pesa. We do everything via M-Pesa. It started way before the mobile apps came, started way before the GoFundMe and all these things came. We already had M-Pesa. Salaries now are paid via M-Pesa. Everything is done via M-Pesa. Pesa means money, then M is mobile. So M-Pesa. So Barclays in the UK, and it tried to mimic that. And so they called the meeting, and I went to it, and the Kenyan team was there trying to, educate the Barclays people in the UK and say, this is how you do with the money and everything, and did it. And by the time we finished, we had signed up to it. It lasted only 1 week or 2 weeks, and they shared the whole idea. And I received a letter from Barclays Bank saying, due to safety concerns, they were not running the Pingit program. Pingit was M-Pesa. They were not running it because having money on your phone was making it unsafe. Doing these transactions, basically, M-Pesa that had been running in Kenya successfully for years was very unsafe in the UK, that within a week, they said, we're not doing it. It's unsafe to have these money transactions on your phone. It will make your phone get stolen. Remember, UK is a country that's developed, secure, and Kenya is a third world country. But they felt that it was not safe in the UK to have this transaction, this money on your phone, way before even the phone apps came with the money and all that. Now we have apps with the bank and everything. But this is different. This is not a bank app. This is just a separate setup altogether. Anyway, why am I telling you about M-Pesa now? I'm going back to this white privilege obsession. What Dr. Abu is always saying, we are addicted to it. We want their approval. Before we do anything, we have to go to them like a little child to a parent and say, oh, mommy, I've done this drawing. Do you like it? But in Kenya, why we came up with M-Pesa is because we didn't have, the banks were just a frustrating thing to just even open a bank account, the documents you're required. Sometimes they even wanted a letter from an employer, you have no job, but you have money somehow. Because in Kenya, we also have ways, because not everyone has bought into capitalism. Not everyone knows about World Bank policies and, you know, the World Bank has said don't put solar or anything. We don't know that. We'll know it in the city when we have TVs or when the minister says something. But in the village, you want to put solar, you get access to it, you do it. Whatever World Bank say, that's not your business. You don't even know what World Bank does. And even if you're told World Bank does this, you say, who? Who's that? Meaning, going back to what Dr. Abu is saying, your family, right in the family, you are the one who accepts who's coming to your house to dictate. If you allow a foreigner to come with this nonsense in your house, put sanctions in your house, and you decide to honor those sanctions while you don't have the same power to go to this foreigner's house and do the same, you're being foolish. You're an idiot, really. So in this case, banks were not working for us. So this system came, the M-Pesa system came, and because everyone has a phone, and the other thing, it does not require you to have a smartphone. No, this uses the dumb phones. You know, any phone does not even require. In fact, many people have an M-Pesa phone that is not a smartphone, because the smartphone, people steal them because they want to go sell them. But the dumb phone, no one steals. So M-Pesa is normally in its own phone. Yes. So this M-Pesa does not need smartphone, does not even need network, you know. So this M-Pesa works in the village. And you know, those dumb phones, they can stay with the charge for almost 3 weeks. You can charge that phone, and the phone, because it has nothing eating the battery, stays on for very long. So people are always getting money. My grandmother in the village, I can send her money from London. She will get it while she's sitting in her house. She'll get it because of this M-Pesa. Whereas if it was a bank, my grandmother herself does not have any identity documents for her to go and open the bank. She will not even have the means to show that she will be having income to open the bank, because she doesn't have an income. But you know, she has grandchildren and children that can send her money. But the bank doesn't look at that. The bank wants her to have a job, an employer letter here, you know, all these things. So my grandmother could not open an account. She's never had a bank account in her life. But right now, because of M-Pesa, she has money coming from all over. Now, this M-Pesa, Kenyans did not go to World Bank or IMF or wherever, Britain, you know, being the colonial master. They didn't go any of this. We just looked at necessity is the mother of invention. We looked, we need money. How can we get money to other people here and there? How can we make it fast? M-Pesa was born. And M-Pesa is serving the Kenyan people very, very well. There was no consultation with the West. There was no approval needed for the West. It was just a need-based analysis. And when the West saw it and thought, oh, this is nice, let us call the Kenyan people to come and educate our people, it failed spectacularly, because the British people just saw worst-case scenario in it and they banned it. Now we are talking about energy. We're now talking about, you know, oh, World Bank has put sanctions here, or IMF has done this, or is this again waiting for the approval? We need to go back to the people and say, what do we need? What kind of power do we need? First of all, in Africa, we should not encourage this 24-hour economy. We should keep to the circadian rhythm of the sun, whereby we are awake during the day, we are asleep during the night. Let us not buy into this thing where we are round the clock serving the master. We should not buy into that at all. So we should look at what do we need and for what reason and for what purpose? Because we also have to preserve our environment. We don't poison our air by having these energies, and we don't poison our earth by raping it and taking away things that should be there. So we have to ask, what are our needs here when it comes to energy? What do we need, and how much of it do we need? Let us not look at the format that is coming from the West. Let us not look, how does the UK do it? Let us not look, how China's been mentioned, how does China do it? Let us not look, oh, Italy, how do they do it? Oh, America, how do they do it? That is their business. The same way their banks is their business and they were failing in Kenya, and we came up with M-Pesa, is the same way we should look at our energy needs. What do we need? What works for us? And then from there, necessity is the mother of invention. We come with something that is ours, and we don't go looking for their approval. We don't go looking for their endorsement. We don't even tell them anything. We just do it based on our own needs. This is what we need as an African people. We need to do things for ourselves. We need to stop looking at our enemies as our friends. We need to stop running to the oppressor all the time to look for their approval and their permission. We should stop this nonsense. And the reason why we end up staying where we are is because we are always looking up to them, wanting to do things like them, always wanting their approval. And that's why we end up sitting and saying, oh, you know, they have said no here. Oh, they've put sanctions here, playing victim mentality. And I finish by saying this. The elephant is scared of the lion. I was reading this somewhere today. The elephant sees the lion, and the elephant sees the lion has come to eat me, and it gets very scared. The elephant is 10 times bigger, the size of the lion. The lion sees the elephant and knows, I can eat this. This is food. And therefore, the elephant can be eaten by a lion based on the lion's attitude and based on the elephant's attitude. This is where we are as an African people. We are a very powerful people. Nature is on our side. Universe is on our side. But you know what? Our attitude is wrong. We are there as victims. We are there waiting for permission. We are there wanting, saying, oh, they've done this and they've done that. Oh, and that is what is keeping us low. That is what is keeping us here. We are the elephants, 10 times stronger than the lion. But we see the lion and run away. Yet, if we put our foot on the lion, just one foot like this, we finish the lion. It's finished. I give thanks.
I give thanks to you too, Sheila, as always. Just enjoy the way that you deliver the message. Powerful, powerful message indeed. Absolutely agree with what you were saying. We have to stop waiting for permission and just do. We don't need to look to the east. We don't need to look to the west. We don't need to consult the east or the west before we do. What we know needs to be done. All the answers we have in our DNA. We are the original people. We were the ones who civilized the world. When they were still living in caves, we had our empires, we had our kingdoms. That knowledge has been taken away from us through their miseducation systems. But if we go inside of ourselves, we can bring back the knowledge of the sciences, the technology, and the engineering, and everything that we had prior to our colonization and the oppression that we're under. I love the M-Pesa example. When I was in Zimbabwe, I came across a system similar to what you're describing there as well. I had mobile money. I can't remember what they call it now, but I can't remember. It will come back to me. But I could put money on my phone, and I could go shopping. When I went to the supermarkets, I had the choice of paying with either a plastic card or cash or by mobile phone. I was like, wow, these guys are way ahead of us in the West, but the West would never, have you believe it, but it was the case, and like you said, we could use a mobile phone and pay bills. We could use a mobile phone and send money to people. I could send money from my mobile phone to others. It's a fantastic system, a cashless society. And of course, the West isn't going to agree to it because it'll put their banks out of business. They're the ones who control the banking system. Just imagine, we don't need their banking system. You just need an electrical grid somewhere. Someone's got the system, the page open, this show on their laptop. If you could put that show on mute, then we won't get the feedback. Oh, fantastic as always, Sister Sheila. Someone in the chat said, Sheila for President of Africa. Rise up, rise up. They wouldn't know what hit them, huh? Yeah, rise up, my sis. Okay, we haven't heard from our brother Kwame for a little while. I've received a message from our guest John Lennon, and sadly, energy problems, power supply. He's had a power outage again, hence why he hasn't been able to join us. They've had a power cut, and it's knocked out his mobile broadband. So hopefully the power cut won't last too long, and he'll be able to come back. And, you know, this is the sorts of things we've got to put an end to. Because, you know, if he's running a business, if you're running a business, you need power. You know, you need power to energize your industries, your factories, your manufacturing companies, you know, and if you've got free power, then it substantially brings down the cost of your industrialization development needs. You know, just imagine we could have clean, cheap, or even free energy, you know, and that would give Africa the kind of boost that it needed in order to catch up with the rest of the world. We've got the sun, we've got the wind. We now need to just go ahead, as is being discussed on this panel, and do for self and start using these means of energy supply in order to boost our industrial capacity. Okay, so let's go back to the panel. Let's go over to Brother Kwame and get some more views and thoughts from you. My brother, what about free energy?
Sister Nadia, Sister Nadia did not finish. She would like to continue and finish, and then I'll come in. She was requesting to finish up.
Sorry, I missed that. Yes, please do, Sister Nadia. Thank you, Brother Kwame.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I got cut off. I don't know exactly where I got cut off. But what I wanted to put across was that we are very, very inventive as Africans. And when we stop listening to the negativity, we can do wonderful and great things. I heard Sister Sheila saying something about necessity is the mother of invention. And this is very true. But further beyond that is the fact that we as melanated people, we as Africans, we have all the answers within our own DNA. And these are truths which we are miseducated about. Is that the correct word? And what they do to us as Black people is that they continue miseducating us, and they don't let us talk on panels like this. I'm not surprised that I got cut off. You know, every time there's a space where people are dropping knowledge, you get cut off. Remember, these are their channels. So what I want to ask everybody here is to check and see what we are doing in Kenya. And this is not a matter of showing off. This is just a matter of, we were so fed up with the system, and the system just wasn't working. So we started inventing stuff to get out of the grid. From using our own fecal matter to using biogases from our animals, from our goats, from our sheep, from our cows, using biogases for cooking, which is completely renewable and completely usable. Kenya has really gone ahead. And what happens, and this is the sadness, what happens is that instead of our fellow African financing us. That is the gap where you find that the Chinese come in and finance all these projects. You find that the Europeans come in and finance all these projects. The Japanese come in and they finance all these projects. And what are the Africans doing? They're not financing and funding other Africans. They're busy complaining. And that doesn't help. So what I would like to ask is that, yes, we do have wonderful inventions across this whole continent. And we need to look at these inventions. And instead of putting them down, beginning to support them. And for those who have the ability to do so, to begin crowdfunding and to begin Africans financing Africans. I am complete. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Najah. Oh, some great suggestions there. And you know what? I just want to briefly add to why it is that we have the Chinese, the Japanese, the Americans, and British and others coming in and supporting African initiatives. I mean, what they do actually, they basically like to take the individual, they take the inventor, don't they, to their country. So, they'll take the young African inventor to America or to Canada or to the UK. And basically, they're getting all of his creative ideas and then they'll wrap it up and package it and represent it to the world as if it's a UK invention or an American invention or a Canadian invention. And, that poor young person feels, so excited that they've been invited to America or to Canada, to share their invention, not realizing that that invention belongs to Africa and for Africans, and that it's a loss, to Africa. Not only that, but what they probably managed to do through the miseducation that he was talking about is they've given most of our people the mindset that suggests that anything that comes out of Africa is inferior, is worthless, is of no good whatsoever, unless, as Sister Sheila was saying, it gets the backing and the support, and the endorsement of the Europeans. Well, what we're saying here today is enough of that crap. We don't need the West to endorse, our inventions, our creativity. Someone said in the chat they'd heard of that M-Pesa 10 years ago. We are 10 years ahead, and tomorrow
it's 20 years old. It's 20 years old.
20 years old. Look at that. Yes. And so clearly what we're seeing here is that tomorrow's revolutionary inventions are already here today on the ground in Africa. I love the idea about us crowdfunding and supporting, the idea of funding some of these inventors. We have got to look to encourage our young people to be inventors, to bring out the creativity out of them. And someone actually said the only thing that European invented was the patent office. So everyone has to patent their inventions with them, and then they steal it, don't they? They're such good thieves. So we need our own African patent office as well, if we don't already have one. And maybe, we should crowdfund to do that too, so that we could be encouraging our young inventors before they go anywhere with their invention to patent it with our office. Oh my gosh, I've just looked at the time and I can't believe the time. It is,
we mustn't forget one last thing, that much of the oil, we're talking about renewable sources, yes, but much of the fossil fuel actually comes from Africa.
Yes, yes, indeed, and causes a huge amount of environmental destruction, displaces the local people from off the land. Very little of that money goes back to the community where it comes from. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it should just stay in the ground if the people are not going to be benefiting from it, and will use sun energy. Okay, we're going to go around and give everybody just 2 minutes to speak, because we are out of time, because we lost John Lennon and he had so much to contribute to this conversation. I think I'd like to suggest that we return to this discussion again next strong. If our panel members are available, it would be great. And we can then bring some more examples of some of the innovation that we've got going on the ground on Mama Africa. Let's celebrate our inventors and our inventions. And so let's give everyone just a minute or less now, because I've chatted on, my apologies. Dr. Abu, bringing it in here for some final words. Take yourself off mute, please, my brother.
Give thanks, family. It's a pleasure on the platform with Sister Sheila, Brother Kwame, and yourself, Sister Shanice, and Dr. Lennon. You know, we're talking about clean energy, and let's leave one another with a light heart, and that will make the whole thing flow. Let us leave their narrative and plant seeds of our narrative, that it can grow in mighty oak tree for the next generation. Voodoo.
Voodoo, rise up, Dr. Abu. Yes, indeed. From a small acorn grows a huge oak tree. And also, being on the continent, from a small mango seed grows a huge mango seed that produces woolipa mango. Mango season out here right now. The mango, them nice, you see. Anyway, over to Sister Sheila for a last word from you.
I give thanks. It's been a wonderful day. I believe lots of seeds have been planted, seeds that will grow. What I will just tell my people is that we should cultivate that attitude of focusing on what we want as opposed to what we don't want, because where we direct our energy is where we grow. So if we direct our energy in things that we want, we grow exactly the things that we want. Voodoo, my people.
Voodoo.
Voodoo, rise up, Sister Sheila, off the grid, agreeing with you there as well. We are the energy. We are the energy. So wherever we focus our energy, that is where it's just going to be electrifying. Rise up off the grid. Bringing in Brother Kwame for some last few words, my brother.
Thank you, Sister Shanice. Thank you, all the panel. I would just like to say we do have everything which we need. We are more educated right now with the Africa, for example, 63% interest rate. So we just have to, as young people especially, I would like to call them on the forefront of correcting the ills of our society, because it has always been the responsibility of the young people to correct, the wrongs in any society. So we have to come up to the front and start directing the continent where it is supposed to go. In running it, in rebuilding it rapidly, because we cannot wait for another 50 years. We cannot wait for all the people to hold us back again. So we need to do this in less than 50 years, 40 years, or even less than that. Dubai has been built within less than 20 years. So the young people, the youth especially, 50 years going downwards up to 13 years, we need to come up right now and start thinking about how to remove the obstacles that are standing in our way of rebuilding the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Kwame Gonza. It's always a privilege having you on the panel. Going over to our Sis Najah for some final words.
I'm just reading, yes, I think precisely why Queen Sheila has to be nominated as President of Africa.
I support that. Yes. Rise up.
That's what we want. It would be great to have the first female president, you know, for the first African president to be a female. It
Hey,
would,
some female
yes,
energy.
yes, yes.
Rise up, family. I want to thank everybody in the chat as well that has contributed towards the discussion today. It's been another very interesting and insightful conversation. Please do share the link to this show. Let's get us all on the same page, because what we're saying here today, you know, what our panel has been saying here today is that, you know, and presenting to us is that we have the technology, we have the know-how, you know, it's happening in a small scale in some places and in Africa, and it has the potential to be scaled up, commercialized, that technology, you know, to be used right across the continent. We are the ones who are going to have to finance these innovations on the continent. We are the ones that are going to need to ensure that there's an African patent office, if there isn't one already, and that our young people are patenting their inventions in Africa before they go elsewhere with it. We have to recognize the fact that we are miseducated as a people. We are led to believe that everything that comes from Africa is no good. But let's remind ourselves that Africa is actually the mother of inventions. Africa is the mother of creation. Africa is where everything started. Before Africa, there was no before. And so, yeah, Africa is the name that we're using today. But before the melanated people of this world, you know, started creating and inventing and building and constructing, there was nothing there. So these great melanated people on the panel, all being well, plus our brother who we lost from Jam Down Jamaica, will be black next strong for another edition of the Sista Shanice Show, where we will be giving credit and recognition to some of our great inventions on the continent and great inventors. One love, family. More love, more power, more strength, more voodoo every time. Thank you to everyone in the chat for being with us today. One love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Sista Shanice out of here for now.